Why would you want to start a home-based business? Convenient, affordable, freedom? All of which makes me stand behind a home-based business. In today's interview, I am inviting Elisha, who is a mompreneur, a mother of 3 kids who lives out of Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. And she's in interior design, helping her husband run his own business and running her own business and homeschooling 3 kids. All these full-time jobs that she has, and yet she's managing beautifully, wonderfully. And I had this conversation with her, and I was looking forward to sharing it with you. So this is a good way to learn more about the type of home-based businesses that you can start, but you can also look into how to successfully manage a home-based business. And if you want to learn more about next year's best home business ideas, watch this video right here. Let me go to the studio as I interview Elisha. Well, hello, citizens of the world. Shaba Shams here with another episode of Shaba Speaks, as I am having an amazing guest today to talk to us about the home-based business and what led to this niche, this project, this enterprise, and the different needs and challenges and journey of this amazing woman who is my guest today, Elisha
Trujillo. Yeah.
Welcome, Elisha. So good to have you here.
Thank you, Shaba.
So
happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really a last minute thing. And I told your husband, my friend Alejandro, that I haven't done a show in a very long time. As you may have known, I was injured for a couple of months and then I was traveling for a while. So I'm just now getting back to normalcy, what life should be about for me. And coming back to this podcast of mine, Shaba Speaks, is really kind of exciting. And I have you as my first guest actually back on the show. So super excited. Welcome to Shaba Speaks.
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored to be your first guest in so long.
Well, thank you so much. You guys are giving me the motivation to get back. I mean, Alejandro, I talked to him a couple of days ago, and then he mentioned to me that you run a home-based business as an interior designer, run a business on coaching actually women who are in to start a home-based business in different niches and fields, and we're going to talk about it. And I thought that what you're doing is just such a beautiful fit. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into starting a home-based business, and what was the inspiration or the motivation to do so?
Yeah, well, so interior design has always been a passion of mine. I know a lot of people have different passions that they turn into hobbies. Some people go all the way and turn them into businesses. We run a few different businesses out of the home, so I keep mine a little bit separate from the main businesses because I still need to assist with the, we have a trucking business. I still need to assist with that. My son is building a Lego app.
Yes.
So I need to be on standby with that. In fact, we work side by side with that. So the interior design was something that I enjoyed for years. I just kind of dabbled in it. I loved doing it. I didn't turn it into a business until about 2019. And interestingly, I had a couple clients where I would do the normal, you go into their home and you help them with their needs, with the spaces, and you work alongside the contractors. And I really enjoyed that, but it was time consuming.
Oh yeah, I bet.
To not only be on call for certain things like we need to pick out, flooring or tile or different, products for the home. And it was really hard for me to leverage my time doing that because I had to be present or I had to show up, at the venues to help select things. On the flip side, you can also run into clients that want your help, but they're not really willing to change their ways. I don't know. You've probably ran into that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll desire a change. They know they don't like their space. They know they don't like their home, or there's just something that irks them. They're dealing with a lot of clutter, whatever it is. And it's really hard to convince people to, not convince them, but to have them make those lasting changes with their space. I would always advise people to purge and declutter, purge before you declutter, and organize, because getting rid of things is always like the first step. What's not serving you anymore? What items in your home, that you just don't need, or maybe you walk by that
So
table or
Elisa,
that
do you
chair.
use the three category organizations approach: toss, keep, uh, donate, or something like that? Do you have a
Yeah, so I kind of shifted it to purge, organize, um, kind of keep what you love, like keep what you only love. Sometimes we tend to keep things because it was given to us. Or if I said, "Oh, Shaba, I love that vase behind you," and you said, "Oh, thanks, it was only $10," then I would know that that's why you purchased it, because it was a good deal, or something like that. So I would listen to what my clients would say about specific items, and I would know, okay, how does that make you feel when you walk by that vase or that table? Do you love it? Is it reciprocating that feeling to you? Because your home, you should be surrounded by what you love. That's the only main place you can really control in today's world, is your immediate atmosphere. You have total control over that. And your atmosphere is a reflection of your mind. So if I walked into someone's home and it was like totally cluttered, they had stuff everywhere, I knew they were indecisive, they couldn't let go of things, they probably had a lot going on in their mind. So it was more than just design. Not directly affecting you mentally and spiritually, then it doesn't have that big of a control. So I'm very sensitive to my environment. If the house is a mess, I need to stop what I'm doing and clean it up.
right?
I like order. I cannot function without it. So to me, the clutter indicates that my mind is somewhere I need to get control of,
Mhm.
because my atmosphere is now taking on, you know, what I'm thinking or where I'm dominantly thinking.
Yeah.
Um, what I would do with your photos, and I did this with my kids' artwork. I had a bin and it got really heavy. I mean, you couldn't even move it because it had so much artwork in it. I
And
let
yours are still younger.
they're still younger, yeah.
Wait
And I would,
until they move out, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I let my kids go through it and pick out
Okay.
what they want. They would sort it into piles. I would secretly go through the pile just to make sure there wasn't something that I wanted to keep. But we did this probably 3 or 4 times before we limited it down to um, they're called zipper pouches. And I would get a big size pouch, and each one would have their name. I would put a little label. This is Sebastian's artwork. And that was it. If it didn't fit in that pouch, or if that was it, whatever you could fit in there. So if there was something I wanted to add and it was just overly stuffed, then we would go through it again. And each kid would have a pouch that would hold their, precious artwork, or some people my grandma kept photo books. She had a whole shelf in her basement of photo books.
Yeah.
I mean, in the old style where you'd peel the thing, they were all yellowed and stuff. And I actually enjoyed going through them and hearing the stories about what life was like. And it was interesting. So she kept them because she knew that people would like to look at them and see the journeys of, the past.
In terms of interior design, it's a very important concept to understand the philosophy of your customer and your client. Are there more of, let me keep everything that's about my life that I documented left and right? Or is it, I just want to have such a kind of almost an aura where I can think, you were talking about organizing your space, etc. So how do you
Right.
get to approach the client that this is not enough or this is too much?
Well, I don't actually go into clients' houses anymore. I don't do in-person design work anymore.
Okay.
Not specifically because of that. I actually love organizing and decluttering and helping people go through their stuff. Um, but my time, because I homeschool 3 kids
Yes.
and because I assist with multiple businesses, I had to make that decision on how could I leverage my time better and still do what I love without taking the time to go into homes and in-person consultations. So I actually just scratched that off altogether.
Mm.
And what I do now is I like to, there's a saying about you can tell people what to do, or you can represent with your life
What you do.
and invite them in. And if it's something that intrigues them, now you can see behind me, I'm not a minimalist. I've tried to do the minimal thing, but what I like to do is I decorate for the seasons. So Christmas for me is like the most abundant time. I overly decorate. I like garlands and trees and lights and cozy throw blankets. We have 3 Christmas trees. I love it. But right after Christmas, I actually start a kind of like a detox where I enter into the new year with a very different mindset. So I shift from the abundance and I go right into almost like a pruning season. This is where I really take a note of what do I have, what do I need, who can I bless. So giving to just give to like goodwill and patting yourself on the back, that's not the same as, hey, somebody who can really be blessed by this item, or of a family or a mother in need, or wherever your passion is. That's different. That type of intentional giving is more of sowing, and that sowing always produces a harvest. So I take that time, that week between Christmas and New Year's, and I hand select things that I've enjoyed or my kids have enjoyed, and I start putting them aside. And I say, okay, we've enjoyed this for 2 or 3 years. It might be something that I really adore, but I know it'll bless somebody else. And then going into the new year, that's probably my most minimal time. I do a deep clean, um, keep things pretty minimal because I need to get my mind wrapped around what this new year is what I see for that new year.
So you run multiple businesses and you homeschool 3 kids. How do you balance being a mom of 3 kids, helping with your husband's businesses, running your own out of your home, and what helped you organize? On how do you organize yourself? How do you manage your time? And do you see home-based business more of a pros than a cons? How do you navigate all this lifestyle of a home-based business and a mompreneur?
Yeah, so I love the ideas of home-based businesses, because what it allows you to do is you're using your lifestyle not only as a tax write-off, but you're also able to lead your children in a way that they're creating an entrepreneur mindset. So it has to be done very delicately. We do not engage in activities that are not aligned with our goals. We're very strict on boundaries, on who we bring into our inner circle, where we spend our time. We don't just let's just hang out. Let's just get together and chat. Like, there's not really a lot of just chit chat. It has to be intentional. And we don't watch TV. Alejandro and I will watch movies once in a while, together. Sometimes we'll watch a family movie, but very rare. In fact, we don't have a TV. We gave that. You really have to use your time wisely, and understand that you make the rules, and you can't just let anybody come in and change that. It took me a while where I had to set up boundaries, where you might have family members that call you and they want to discuss their problems and they want to go over what's wrong, with this, but then they don't want to do anything to make those changes, but they use you as a sounding board. Well, that takes up a lot of time. That could be an hour conversation every day. Well, okay, that's 7 hours a week that you just wasted on somebody who's not going to take your advice anyways.
It'd be better
to stop. Yeah.
That's yeah. Text me, don't call me.
It's because you also take on their energy when you're on the phone with them. They could be very stressed out. if you've ever gotten off of a call and you're like exhausted and you're like, what just happened? I feel so confused and I need a break now. And really it's because you just absorbed all of their energy. With my time, how I juggle between is I do things very unconventionally. We do our own schedule. It's not the same every single day. There's room for new ideas to come in. There's room for the kids if they just want to play one day together and it's a creative type play. I that's okay. It doesn't have to be a rigid schedule all the time. So that's kind of how I balance between those things. I know when Alejandro needs me, if I need to stop what I'm doing and I need to step in another role. I handle all of our accounting for the trucking business. So that takes every day or every couple of days, I need to take a couple hours and keep that in order. So the design, what I've done is I've kind of, going back to your original question, I don't do the in-home design anymore. What I started doing is I created a like to know it account. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No. Tell me.
Yeah. So what it is you apply for this account. Not everybody gets approved for it because they have to see your social media status. So I started building up my social media design account. And what I'm doing now is I'm just using the like to know it to link. For example, let's say I took a picture of where I'm at right now. I could link this shawl on like to know it, this pillow, this blanket, any of these items, most of these items. And I could say, you could shop my home by clicking here. And in essence, it's like an affiliate where you then begin to receive commissions off of the purchases. So this is a much better use of leveraging time, because over time, as it builds up, I'm not quite where I want to be yet with it, but as it builds up, it'll produce more than in-home design would do. To my Instagram, Scottsdale Design Services, and you click on the link in my bio, it'll take you there. And I create mood boards of different items, clothing, home items. I search for really not just low end and not just high end. I search for like a nice mix of things.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that this really helps people shop, because the time it takes to, I need to buy a Christmas gift for somebody. It's easy to just, here's a board for girls, Christmas gift ideas, and it'll take you directly to the store. You don't pay any more for it. So it's the exact same for the customer, but it'll take you right to that item and you can just select it. So it saves so much time with scrolling and shopping. And I really curate these boards in a way that I hand select the items. I don't just bombard them with a bunch of junk. I look for the quality of the items, the price of the item. Is this something that's going to last, and those types of things.
Walk me through a typical day of Elisha. Divide and organize your time, because there are so many moms out there, and I hear it a lot, 2-year-old and I don't have the time. I truly believe, with all respect to these women, that it's not matter of that you don't have time. The time is there. It's just like a poor management skills of their part. Here you're doing it. I mean, you're a very good example of a mom who has 3 little ones with a lot of needs and attentions, and who are homeschooled, and helping your husband running his businesses, and you're also running yours. I mean, if there is anyone who comes and tells me that, I don't have a time because I'm a mom, you are a living proof, Elisha. So how do you go about creating time out of your 24 hours that doesn't seem to be enough for other moms? And I have to call them. I'm sorry, I have to call them on that, because I'm just tired of hearing women, moms, who tell me that they don't have time to pursue their dreams and build something for themselves because of the kids.
Yeah, that's a really good observation. And people have different parenting styles. And, one of the things that I do is the kids don't control the home. the parents need to control the home. So to give an example, I went through a period of time where I had put on some weight and that affected my marriage. It affected how I felt about myself. It affected the clothes that I had in the closet. I didn't like how I felt. Well, I had to start exercising in the home because I couldn't get to the gym to leave the kids because then Alejandra would have to watch the kids. We didn't have a home workout space. So I would use the dining room and I would push the table and I would use the space, and that was my workout. Well, when I started that, I needed to be focused on what I was doing. So I would send the kids, go away. Don't talk to me. Don't walk in front of me. If I'm doing a super cool move and you're next to me, you're going to get hit. So get out of the way. And so this was them respecting my time that I needed for that 30 minutes. They will have their own time where they would have me to, like we read before bed. That's my time with them, for them to read or me to read to them. But there's certain periods of time that the moms or the parents need to take control of. For example, if you have a 2-year-old, they need to be on a nap schedule. If you put the child in the room and they're not wanting to take their nap, you're gonna let them cry till they fall asleep. I know parents don't want to hear that, but they need to understand that that routine is healthy, because the mom in that 1 or 2 hours, you can really maximize what you're doing in that 1 or 2 hours. If you're going to use it to watch a Netflix series, that's your own fault. You're wasting your time. But if you use it to work a little bit at a time on the business that you want to create, now you're maximizing that 1 hour or that 2 hours of time. And so I was very diligent about that, where my kids would nap. If it was noon, you're going in your room. If you're going to cry, I would close the door. And because the mom knows the different types of crying. They know if it's a pain or just a fuss cry. You can tell, like, are they hurt? No, they're just fussing. And eventually they'll stop because they'll understand, oh, this is my nap time. Yeah. And they'll actually be better off because of it. They need that. So instead of letting the kids control the kid doesn't want to go to bed, the kid doesn't do this, the parents have to take control and create a disciplined routine. It's like kids need freedom within boundaries. That's where they thrive the most. You can't give them freedom with no boundaries, and you can't restrict them all the time. So use those pockets of those windows of time when the child's napping or whenever that is to then cultivate, your business or your whatever it is that you're working on. That's what I would suggest.
And I am with you on that. It's just like my kids are much older than yours. My youngest is 22, but I raised them at a time where I was going to school. I had just come to America, so I didn't have any English, so I didn't even speak the language. Even though I had a bachelor's degree from my home country, I started from literally nothing because my degree had to go through another process. So I had to go back to school. So I was going to school for my master's degree at the time. I just had a baby, 2 weeks old. I was holding a book to study on one hand and breastfeeding with the other hand. Wow. And I was teaching assistant at the time, running a catering business, and 3 kids, like 3 years apart, and the youngest was 2 weeks old. And I was living, Elisha, on 3 hours sleep. I mean, I don't even know, like now you tell me, I'm like, how in the world did I even do it? Like you go back, I was younger, but still the drive was there. It breaks my heart when I see these young women, these young moms, like I was once upon a time, and they're like just giving up, literally. They're like, how can you do that to yourself? You have all these big dreams, but you're not going to school, you're not starting a business. That's why I got into helping women to start a home-based business, because it's a huge opportunity if you have little ones at home that you can start earning money, building skills. So it's like, what can I do to help myself improve my family, my income, create success, achieve my financial freedom while I'm taking care of my kids? And it's like, dude, you have the solutions, start a home-based business, learn the language, learn a skill, etc. And then I hear this non-ending excuse. Oh my goodness, I don't have time. My kids are little, and I'm like, okay, I was in those shoes, and I didn't even have YouTube at the time. I didn't even have online education at the time, and everything had to be physically.
Yeah.
Had to drive to places, etc. So for me, it's not really an excuse. Has 24 hours a day. I have 24 hours a day. Every single person, 8 billion on the planet, we all 24 hours a day. Why are some people very productive and accomplish great things, whatever that is to them, and why others are still living with the excuse, I don't have time?
Absolutely. It really comes down to Shaba that they don't want it bad enough. And people have to make a mental switch. There's a time I enjoyed time when my kids were babies. I still had that entrepreneur mindset didn't go away.
Yes.
But I did enjoy those times. So some moms, it might be that they just want to have that time while their kids are little, and that's fine. I mean, enjoy it. If you don't want to start a business when they're little, then don't. And once they get to that switch of, okay, I'm ready to do this, then you can step in and help them. But until it's just like when I would help women with their clutter. If they're not ready to let go of things, my time would be wasted advising them to let go of things. They're not ready. They're not going to do it.
Absolutely.
So it'd be better for you to just shift to the people who are absolutely ready, like you said, because it's definitely possible. And a home-based business is the best of both worlds because you can tend to both on your own. You can make your own schedule and you can grow both. And I feel personally that the children, when they see, like when my kids saw me, I was very serious about working out. They respected that, but they respected me because they knew I want to be healthy. I want my body to be functioning perfectly. So even though it might have been hard at the beginning for them, well, why are you being so mean to us? Go away. This is my time. I need to do it. Well, then they later on, they would Sebastian would say, I'm proud of you. You look good. Yeah. So they see that, and it's a really good example that for the child to see that the mom is not just a mom, that she's other things also.
It seems that home-based business has a lot of pros as far as you're concerned, that you love and cherish this model of business, which I do too. Do you see any cons to running a home-based business, or what are the biggest challenges you encounter in your own journey and experience as an entrepreneur working from home?
Well, the biggest challenge would be you have to be disciplined, because for a long time it was hard for me to focus on business if there was dishes in the sink or a pile of laundry. I knew it was there. It was really hard for me to split the two and ignore that to then do the other work, because naturally I would be like, okay, I need to get the house cleaned up before I can do one thing. And sometimes Alejandro would need me and I'm like, well, I need to clean the bathrooms. Well, the bathrooms can wait. He needs, my help with what's producing. The bathrooms aren't paying me money. A clean shower is not producing any income. Yes. So I had to make that switch. So the discipline of separating the two while you're at home is probably the biggest challenge. Some people, like when I started getting back into fitness, I thought I needed a gym to go to be surrounded by fitness equipment away from the home. And I had to tell myself, no, I could do it right here in my dining room. Even if my kids are sitting there at the table, I have to be able to zoom out or block that out and do it. Naturally, I would prefer a separate space to do that in. But when you have that desire so strong, if your desire really is to get a business off the ground or get a business up and running, you'll make whatever changes you need to make, to do that in the home. We also started using our space differently. So for example, we don't have a master bedroom right now because we took the kids' room for the office, as I'm in right now, because this is the room that produces. And we gave the master to our girls, so they had a kind of a suite. and we have a couch with a pull-out bed. Well, that might seem odd, like, well, why would you do that? But you have to look at your space differently to say, what's a waste of space? How many hours would I use a master bedroom? I would sleep in it and that's it. Well, if I could switch the spaces around to use a different, create an office, so maybe that mom has a quiet place to go to close the door and work or work out or do business or something. That's another way too, thinking of your space differently to give you that opportunity to, to grow your business.
It's a home-based business, and you do as well. How do you guys work around each other's energies? Because sometimes you might have high energy and he's in the low, and vice versa. That you can actually operate two, three businesses out of the one home. How do you navigate and balance this?
You have to respect each other. And in the beginning, he didn't look at my business as it was more of a hobby in his eyes.
Yeah.
Until I started producing income. Then that gets the attention of the spouse. Like, oh, okay, it is a legit business. So it takes respect in the beginning, because just because you love doing something, I think that's a big, that could be a big issue in marriages is, the husband or the wife enjoys doing something. And so the spouse thinks that it's just you're doing it because you enjoy it. Well, if you can make an income doing what you enjoy, then it's a win-win, because you're in a creative state, you're doing what you love, and you can produce an income. The thing is, make sure you're producing it and you're not just wasting time being busy with it. You have to have an end in mind. Like, I have a financial amount in my mind that I want to get to with what I'm doing.
Which is?
And he knows that. $50,000 a month is my goal for what I'm doing at home. I have a date and that amount in my mind. Is it a feasible goal? Absolutely. Is it going to take a lot of work in the beginning? Yes. Do I stay up at night working on it? Yes. Those are just things that need to happen in order for you to keep working towards the goal. So even if you fall short of that goal, let's say you had a goal of $10,000 a month at your home-based business and you got 5. Would you be super disappointed in that? If you were, no, you would probably be pretty thrilled that you're getting there, because it shows the harvest of what those seeds you've been planting for that long time. You're finally seeing the fruits of your labor. And so that's very motivating. It's hard in the beginning when you're not seeing any fruits and you're working and you're building that foundation and you're up late and that's the time where you don't want to give up.
Yes.
It's very easy to get discouraged and give up in the beginning, but you must keep going. My desire isn't just to have $50,000 a month from that side income. My desire is to support the bigger picture. That's a supportive amount to go into what the bigger picture that we have working on.
Last advice that you can give momspreneurs who want to start a business from home or running a home business, but they are frustrated and not, discipline and structure. What can you give in terms of advice to run a successful home-based business for a mompreneur?
Well, the main advice I would say, Shaba, is get as clear as you can on what it is you want. So you're not wasting time doing the wrong things. Like you said, you could get busy doing, the wrong things, the wrong businesses. So it really needs to be something that you're connected with. I think you'll know when you, it might not be just what you're good at, though usually we're connected to, what we're really good at. But get clear on what you want and hold the image of what that end result is. And as long as you hold that image then you're functioning with the end in mind, from the end, using the end from the beginning.
And then you reverse engineer.
Right. That will help you get through the day to day. And also, if you have little ones at home, don't be so strict on what you can do in a day. Give yourself the week. So if there's like 3 big goals that you need to do, and maybe they don't happen on Tuesday because the baby was more needy on Tuesday than Wednesday, give yourself the week to accomplish those goals and measure weekly instead of daily. And that will help. That'll help give you a little bit of room for everything as you get built up. So,
and I'll add to everything you said, something that I always say is build a relationship with your calendar. Don't put the calendar and your time aside and never look at it. Keep yourself accountable for how you're spending your time and what you're doing, and see pretty much where the time is going. Because a lot of time people reach the end of the week and they're like, where did the week go? Well, if you have a calendar where you are recording what you're doing, you put it up. I can pull mine with all these colors and I can tell you, oh, I did the blue, I did the pink, I did the orange, because I have all these color coded tasks that I do. And I'm like, I can tell you exactly what my week was like. And that relationship actually over time is enough of it as an accountability tool that will guide you into the right direction, into starting to build an awareness with your time and where it is invested. So Elisha, my love, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. My big regard to your husband Alejandro and your beautiful family. I had the privilege, of course, to meet Sebastian.
He says hi, by the way.
For your time, Elisha. And I will see you tomorrow for
my home-based
business women.